As a man in a white van to a child would say, "Come here. Come on." I have a controversial statement to make. I think this is the best Deadpool statue ever, and I guarantee I'm right. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. My name is Mr. X, and today we're reviewing this piece from Sideshow Collectibles. The world may be over tomorrow, and even though he's an older piece, I've never reviewed him, so I need to get it done. This is officially Sideshow Collectibles Deadpool Heat Seeker Premium Format 1/4 scale. They made 4,000 of these guys, and they retailed at $700. And I said I think he's the best statue. I guarantee I'm right, because I think he's the best statue, and that's what I think. Gotcha. But I decided to review him because I recently launched the review for Lady Deadpool, and they were just sitting actually behind the camera for a long time, and I thought, you know what, these are pretty cool pieces. And as I said, I really think this is the best Deadpool statue out there. I actually own 5 different versions of Deadpool statues, which you may or may not have seen on a video of the best X-Men statues I recently filmed. I don't know if it's going to launch before or after this. But I did want to do an in-depth review of him, and I really like him. And you know what's interesting to me is, as I was doing the Lady Deadpool review, you can actually check it out right here, I mentioned that they made 2,000 of her and she's still for sale. They made 4,000 of these and it's sold out. So that goes to tell you that maybe it is pretty popular. And we're going to talk about some of the reasons why it's so popular when we get to the in-depth review. I've never been a huge fan of Deadpool in the comics. I've never read specific Deadpool content. He's guest appeared in a few of the other comics I've read, but I really enjoyed Ryan Reynolds' portrayal of him in the first and second Deadpool movies. I think Ryan Reynolds has that classic personality that fit him really well, and that's exactly how I envisioned him. His powers are pretty cool, and his comical style really just adds to it. So that's why I went ahead and purchased this. Him and some other Deadpool pieces actually sit with my Wolverine piece, and at the end of the video, I will show a picture of that. I'll also show some video of up-close details on this guy. But before we go any further, if you want to win a free Venom statue, I'm giving away these 2 Venom statues right here. Make sure to hit that like button, and then towards the end of the video, I will tell you how you can win these. Let's jump into the extreme review of this guy, and we're going to rate concept, design, paint, sculpt, and does it have the X factor. As always, we're going to start with concept, and this is where it blows it out of the water. I really think they captured everything you would want for Deadpool. So first of all, it is a sub-black museum base, but on top of that is just like Lady Deadpool, because this is a companion piece. You have the same texturized concrete, except you have something very different. It's a huge explosion. And we're going to get into it with paint and sculpt, but I love how they did this explosion. It's designed very well. You see different parts of it. It really looks like it's exploding and making Deadpool and fire and parts of the cement blow everywhere. And he is on top of it in probably one of the most dynamic poses I've ever seen on a statue. He's on one foot, presumably jumping off, fully decked out. His costume is very similar to Lady Deadpool. When we go through paint and sculpt, you're going to see a lot of similarities, if not exact same aspects. And he's doing 3 or 4 things. First, he has a rocket that he is dodging, so his back is arched, and the rocket or missile just missed him, why this is called a heat seeker. With his right hand, he has his katana, and he is cutting a grenade in half that's about to explode. Very, very cool. It's in the midst. This is like a frozen frame. With his left hand, he's shooting behind his head, and the gun and the bullet just came out of the barrel. There you can see the explosions and the path it's taking. That little part is actually one of my favorite pieces. And what's really cool is when we get to design, you're going to see there's actually some switch out options, because this is the exclusive version. I don't really care for the switch out options. Awesome dynamic pose. I think the cool thing about this, it really shows Deadpool. First of all, he's always getting hurt or blown up. He jumps headfirst into the fire, both figuratively and literally. He is a master of weapons, so it shows him utilizing those. In a huge big battle, they nailed all of that. That's why I love this so much. I think it's an X on the concept. It's the perfect thing I'd want for Deadpool. The only thing I'd want different is maybe something comical, but they offered that with the exclusive and the switch outs, which we'll talk about right now in design. So they made 4,000 of these statues. 2,500 are the collector's edition, which are just like this. Now, this actually is the exclusive, but I don't like the exclusive switch outs, but it's cool that they have them. So first of all, His portrait, you have one portrait right here. It's the normal portrait, the collector's portrait, or they have a switch out portrait where he is making a kissing face. Here's a stock photo because I left mine in the box. Then instead of the gun, which is my favorite part, where the bullet's shooting out, you can actually give him a selfie stick, taking a picture of him kissing into the camera. So he's doing this in mid-battle. And that captures the comic element, I think, very well of Deadpool. Displayability on this is good and bad. So first of all, let's do the dimensions. The widest point, which is hard to tell because of the rocket, but it's almost 20 inches. The base itself is about 13 or so. The tallest point is pretty tall because of this sword. It's almost 26 inches. So that's a negative. However, just like Lady Deadpool, you can display other pieces near it because if they had a part that jutted out, it could fit really well right here. Also, no leaning issues, just like Lady Deadpool. So I think they did really good job engineering. And the fact that you have so much crazy stuff going on here. You have a bullet almost in midair. You have a rocket in midair. You have Deadpool essentially in midair. I think the engineering in the design is awesome, and they gave both switch out options to make him in a battle or the comical aspect of him. I think this is a W when it comes to design. They did a fantastic job, especially with some of the things you saw when we looked at the base, and that you will see now that we're looking at sculpt and paint. I'm a huge fan of the base, like I said, so let's just start right there. The black museum base on the bottom, I don't really care about. I could have done with or without. But let's look at the concrete. This is a little bit lighter color than Lady Deadpool, but I like it. I like the texture on it. I like the cracks. I like the different shading. And then there's so many different parts of this explosion. So let's first talk about the bubble on the inside. It looks really cool. It looks like a real explosive bubble. It looks like burned aspects to the paint of it. Inside you can see some more stuff blowing up, so this kind of transparent resin on the outside. And then you have these cones or spikes simulating the explosion getting bigger with kind of this flame orange-red aspect. Overall, it's really well done. I'm a huge fan of this base. I think it falls in two camps. Some people love it as much as I do, and some aren't big fans of it. Now, when you get to Deadpool, a lot of the things you're going to see are very similar to the costume we saw on Lady Deadpool. One thing I do like is there's this red orange paint towards the bottom of his shoes, not only the one in the explosion, but the one higher up to simulate that, hey, this is fire, this is exploding. And obviously, different than Lady Deadpool. I'm not going to go through all the details, but you see the musculature is more masculine, obviously. A little bit more muscles on it. The suit's very similar with very few folds and creases. Excellent sculpt on the boots. The straps holding on the holsters of his guns. His guns look phenomenal. Great paint job, great detail. His belt with utility pouch, classic Deadpool symbol. This kind of army fatigue color on these, browns and greens. All over. I assume that's ammo and other things he has in there. He also has this strap of ammo stuff across his chest, and these have these awesome little buckles on them. The sculpt is really amazing. And as we look at his suit, just like Lady Deadpool, he has the standard red with black shading in it, and then this texturized pattern on his arms and around the sides, and then some black that just going down. Very, very cool. The musculature is awesome too. Deadpool's not a really buff guy, but he is muscular, he's fit, he's in good shape. Here's some shots of his back. And the way they arched the back, which I can't do anymore, but that's because I'm fat. I think there was some good study of anatomy for this. Let's look at the missile really quick. Very similar to Lady Deadpool, a little bit different fins on the missile. Obviously, it's painted a different color. The shading of the blast is a little bit different color too, but a lot of similar aspects. It looks really good. Where it keys in, you can't really tell, which I think is a huge success. Take a look at where the sword is exploding the grenade. I absolutely love this. It's awesome. It's cutting it right in half, and you see the explosions coming out of it. It's a larger grenade, which I don't like, but I think if they made it too small, it probably would have had some engineering issues. You can see the pin blowing off. Very, very cool. Look at the gun here. I love this. So the gun, they did a great job on the gun, the design, everything of it. The solid black color. On the back, you actually see the shells falling out. Again, it shows that this is frozen in time. And then look at the explosion of the path of the bullet. This transparent resin with orange and clear. That's what transparent is. Here's his portrait. Not really a lot to say on this. You can obviously see his ears and his nose, not so much his mouth, but you typically can't see Deadpool's mouth. The whited out eyes. It looks good. When you have a fully masked portrait, it's kind of interesting. But I think they did a very, very nice job. So I'm a fan. I'm a bigger fan of this one than the other one. I think the paint and sculpt on it is both same category. I think it's a 4 out of 5. I don't think I'll ever want to part with this Deadpool statue. Like I said, it captures everything I would want in a Deadpool. I have some other ones, and they have some different aspects that are really cool, not only from a concept, but paint and sculpt. Here's a picture of him with just the companion piece right here. And as promised, here's a picture of where he's set up. I actually have a custom Deadpool diorama in the middle. But my final score on this guy is a 4 out of 5. It's a rail, I think. You know, it's hard to say that something's a rail with 4,000 pieces, but Thanos on Throne would be, and I think there were 5,000 of those. I'm not saying this is better than Thanos on Throne. If I had to pick between two, it'd be Thanos on Throne every time. But if I wanted a Deadpool statue, I think this is definitely the one I would want. And I think it can go with any type of display, whether it's museum X-Men pieces or, you know, a Colossus or whatever that is. So to win that Venom statue, if you haven't liked the video, do it now. If you have not subscribed to the channel, you have to do that as well and hit that bell notification. Then you'll know when the prize videos drop. The Venom will drop when we hit 10,000 subs. We just did another giveaway recently. We have some hidden, some surprise ones coming up. But let me know your thoughts on what the best Deadpool statue is. Do you agree with me? I even see some new custom ones that are coming out. I like this one better. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't lick any doorknobs. Take care.